Assalamu alaikum fam, hope you're doing fantastic this Ramadan. Let's continue our refutation of this inaccurate representation of Islam and Christianity, by the way. It is by Elijah Muhammad, and this chapter is titled The Devil's Food and Disgrace You. Alright, so over here he contends, Allah has said to me, excuse me by the way, what? They are living in the end of the world of white rule. Okay, wait a minute. White rule. Again, yes, the economic power is apparent in certain instances. However, that is a test for them as well. A test for them as well. And the glitz and glamour, you have to examine if that's a benefit or a negation. You can be free and liberated and have a better quality of life being in a rural area with family and love instead of on the grid of surveillance. Let's continue. A race of whom Allah has made manifest to you and me as being real devils. Again, how did Allah say, he's saying, white people were real devils? Wait a minute. Where is that written? He doesn't give me a hadith. He doesn't give me a surah. He doesn't give me anything. Right? And how is that manifest just because in one specific location there happened to be slavery when quite clearly slavery has been around for quite some time? Many nations did it. Does not make it right. Okay? It happened. So if he uses slavery as evidence of being a real devil, that would mean, by logic, that any race that practices slavery is a devil. So if it's many races that practice slavery that makes them demonic, then how can you only blame one race for the actions of slavery? Wait a minute now. You see what I mean? And as we do know, Prophet, peace be upon him, in times of war, there was captives. So he's not theologically consistent here. Let's continue. They were created to rule us for 6,000 years. Okay, where is that written in the Quran? Where does it say that Allah will give dominion to white people to rule people, other nations, for 6,000 years? I know this 6,000 years is the beginning of the earth, and he contends that Jacob created white people as a race of devils, which is association with partners with Allah. You cannot do that. You cannot say that. That's blasphemy. What are you doing, dude? What are you talking about? What? It's absurd. Okay, let's continue. And then Allah, God, will destroy them from the earth. So, only white people will be destroyed from the earth instead of the wicked, who can be of any nationality or a mix thereof? I mean, come on now. He consistently does not focus on deeds, ethics, character, morality choices, or personal accountability, but constantly refers to pale skin and blue eyes. Quite strange. And give the earth back to its original owners, the black nation. Yes, we know that all of us, they contend, stem from Africa. That is an evolutionary talking point. Yes, okay. But where does it say in the Quran that blacks will inherit the earth while only whites will be destroyed? Where is that written? What Imam says that? But notice, he's just mixing in a lot of things to cause issues here. Further, he says, the time has arrived and you must know the truth of this race and yourself and nation. The truth of this race. Wow. Any person who contends black supremacy is not apparent, has not read this book. All forms of racial supremacy do not help spread the deen, do not help cause peace, and Allah did not create any race better than any other race. What is going on here? He continues, you must be reunited with your own nation. So separation here. This is quite sad, especially because all my siblings are half black except for one of my sisters who's half Cuban. This is quite sad. This is quite sad. Both my mother and father remarried with African Americans. This is separation is quite sad. I mean, come on, man. It's very hurtful. So, again here, let's continue. He goes over here. They are pulling off your clothes and showing the world your shame, and you think it is right. So here he's saying that white people have taught nudity to African Americans. I have to say that in Brazil, there's a lot of indigenous jungles, people who dwell in there, who expose their breasts more. And I've watched plenty of documentaries about different tribes in Africa where the women have their breasts out and they have the red clay in their hair and dreadlocks and the beads around their necks, and they show their bodies just as much as any people. I do understand that he's talking a lot about, the hedonism. But the Amish, they cover up. Mormon women back in the day covered up. The Puritans, if you study their history in America, the Puritans, in the Victorian era in America, they covered up. Even in England, if you look at the fashion, the women wore those corsets and those big dresses, and they were covered up. Some of them might show a little cleavage, but they were covered up. The old school Christians who lived in the prairie, they covered their hair. What are you talking about? White Italians and Irish women, they used to wear tights, the long dresses with the apron. They did not show their breasts. They wore long sleeve shirts, and they covered up. Even if you look at films of old Western films where you would see people on the frontier, the women covered up. What are you talking about? You see clearly here he is filled with vitriolic hate. It's quite sad. They're used to going nude. They have nudist colonies here in America to prove it. I mean, if you look at mainstream musicians, they're all kinds of colors, skin shades, and they're humping and doing naked things. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. What are you talking about? They did the Grammys where they were bouncing up and down, grinding on each other. Clearly, this man is filled with hate. 4,000 years ago, all of Europe was a nudist colony. Excuse me, Native American Indians could show skin when they would hunt. You would see, if you look at a lot of depictions of Native American tribes, they did have, the men had their chest exposed, and a lot of women did cover up. This is true. But people did wear just a headdress and then had their moccasins and their leather pants and would ride bareback on horses. So the nudity is a common thing amongst many different groups and civilizations. For example, the Aztecs and the people of Peru, the Incan people, if you look at the ancient depictions of how the Spanish drew them, some of them exposed their bodies too. So clearly this person is poorly read on history and clearly is ignoring anthropology and archaeology for his own sick political aims. Clearly, any person who has read history can see the consistent inaccuracies in what he says, and this is why people like this are so dangerous, is because they neglect history and fabricate their own narrations to suit their political aims. He continues, and your little daughters are being brought up to not be shy of indecency. That's shaitan. No race is responsible for indecency. It was Iblis who caused the indecency to spread because he tempted the pair, Hawa and Adam. So they became shy and their eyes and consciousness changed and they revealed, we were naked, right? So come on now. It's shaitan, Iblis, who tempts you. It's not just the pale folk. Come on now. You can see through logic and reason his sophistry. He continues, you have them stripped to their trunks, all because the devils invited you to wear such styles of theirs. Now, Beyonce, I can see her half naked. I can also see Madonna half naked. Britney Spears, Ariana Grande. Come on now. Let's be a little bit honest. Selena was a Latina. She was an artist who sang just in her bra, her brassiere. So what are we talking about here? Italian operas, if you look at the women who used to sing opera, they'd have a big dress on. And sometimes they'd show cleavage and sometimes they would not. But come on now. Come on now. We have to be fair. You're going to tell me that in medieval Europe that Italian women were constantly naked? Come on now. Come on now. You can pick up a book. You can study the clothing anthropologically and see that there's not a consistency here. Come on now. Be fair. But when someone wants to convince you of a sick ideology, they will omit truth in favor of their agenda. He continues, and you are obeying. This is to tempt the black people in becoming sharers in their doom. Now again, the Mormons cover, the Amish cover, we all will be doomed regardless of our race if we do not cover ourselves after the truth of Allah has been revealed to us. Allah has told us to cover, so we will do it. Okay? Your skin shade will not save you from any doom. Your actions will, on the day of accounting. Come on now. Come on. Do you see? This is why people must be. Because people like this, who want to teach Islam, have a different message for people that causes more danger for Muslims in America, because it makes people fear that Islam is about hurting whites. This is horrible. Horrible. So, again, I hope you enjoyed this series. We'll continue more later, but study, because people like this are becoming popular again, and we must watch out.